As you know, I've been experimenting with a friction disc CVT transmission. That is a drive system that is continually changeable. So no gearbox with fixed gears, just a smooth range of as many speeds as you like, forwards and backwards. And recently I made a couple of improvements to mine, and I thought you might like to see them. Basically because now it's even simpler and it works even better. And I'm genuinely so surprised at how well this thing works that I've become quite a fan of these things. So, just to recap so you remember how amazingly simple this whole mechanism is, I'll quickly run through it. And of course, because some of you haven't seen it at all yet. Where have you been? This is the pulley that comes directly off the engine. And when the engine's running, it spins at a constant speed. And from that, there's a belt drive to this spinning disc, which I call the drive wheel. The belt only works when it's tight around the pulleys, so I can use a lever to tighten or loosen it, so I can turn that drive wheel on or off with a simple clutch. And that drive wheel is also spinning at a constant speed. So far so good, right? And then, at right angles to that drive wheel, I set up another disc, another wheel. It's in a frame, and the frame has to hinge a little at the bottom. But it's a very simple hinge, one that I can take apart when I like. That second wheel with the yellow rim is the friction wheel, and it rolls round and round against the drive wheel. And depending where that friction wheel is, you can choose the speed and the direction of the spin. Looks a little complicated, but the shaft just slides within some off-the-shelf bearings. And when you put a sprocket and chain on the shaft and link that to the wheels of the tractor or the car or the locomotive or the lawnmower or the snowblower or the tank or racing car or submarine or anything, whatever it is that you're building, then you have a very effective drive system, and you can choose the speed and the direction of that vehicle. Now there's just one more element to it, okay? The selector fork. You need one of those in order to move the friction wheel across to get to all those different speeds. It needs to slide sideways and push the spinning wheel at the same time. I just use two bearings on sticks to do the pushing part. And the sliding part is facilitated by these little pulleys which grip the square tube. And there's a simple lever to move the fork as required. And that's it. Those big bearings are the most expensive part of the build by far. And with the engine running, you can see how the friction wheel spins faster and faster the further out it is, and it stops when you get to the middle, and it goes in reverse if you keep pushing it out in the other direction. And the point is, this is a long way from rocket science or high precision engineering. I made this thing. And if I made this thing, then you probably could too. So Instead of buying some incredibly complicated gearbox or hydraulic motor, you might like to make something for yourself from scratch that actually works, and then you'll know how happy I feel about it because it's so satisfying. Right, so anyway, as I say, I've been tinkering with this CVT, and the first thing I did was make an even bigger friction wheel. The first version had a diameter of 120 millimeters, and that squeaked and slipped a bit, so I made a second bigger one of 150 millimeters, and that worked a lot better. So I thought I'd better go bigger again and see what difference that made. So the latest one is 220 millimeters diameter. The rubbery material is 10 millimeter thick urethane from Amazon, I think. Not expensive anyway. Making this wheel bigger obviously slows down the rate that it's spinning, so to compensate I changed the engine pulley to a larger one. So now the drive wheel is spinning faster, and the output to the chain is more or less the same range of speeds as before, but there's more torque now for the same speed, I think. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. I don't know what the optimum ratio might be for these, but this is the best of the three that I've tried. This one works best. Now, the first version I made of this required 2 large springs to keep the friction wheel pushed up against the drive wheel. But with this better ratio of sizes and the right rubber material, I found it doesn't need that much pressure at all. In fact, it doesn't need any springs now. Not at all, none of them. If I need more traction, I push on the lever, but for just trundling along on the level, I can just let go of the lever and it keeps going, just from the weight of the frame leaning onto the wheel. So that's much simpler. In fact, I wish I'd just gone directly onto the engine flywheel like I did in the beginning. But anyway, that would have been better, simpler again, but too late to change that now. I have tried various sizes of sprocket too. The smallest one had just 15 teeth, which was the lowest number I could squeeze on, and then the latest has 18 teeth, which means the top speed of the locomotive is faster. I'll make a couple more sizes too when I have a minute for the speed challenge, which we really ought to get round to sometime, shouldn't we? Yes, see how fast it goes. Now I was using cable ties to hold the sprocket in place, while the spinning shaft slides through it, and they worked fine, but I didn't like to have to replace them each time I took the machine apart, so I followed suggestions in the comments from various smart people, and now I'm using metal Jubilee clips instead. And they work perfectly and can be reused no problem. So thanks for that suggestion. Another addition is the chain tensioner, just a couple of bearings held in position with a single bolt in a slot. I greased everything. And oiled the chain, and now I have a working CVT locomotive. Thank you. No submarines yet, but still, a locomotive is pretty good fun anyway. And another interesting thing is, so far I haven't needed any brakes.
Too fast, Tim! Too fast! I can't film it! Hang on!
It was a bit strange, but I just moved the lever and slow it all down, just like that, bringing it back towards the centre. And that's something I wasn't expecting at all. But, obviously not having to make brakes saves a lot of time. Now I want to do some more work on the rest of the locomotive, add a coupler at the back and some sort of cover and tidy it all up a bit. But I wanted to remind you of this mechanism, this amazing mechanism, before I cover it all up. The friction disc CVT. What fun!